When its demo dropped earlier this year, Roadcraft unleashed my inner child. Tasking the player with rebuilding disaster zones using various examples of heavy plant, the game resembled a giant Tonka toy-filled sandbox, something developer Saber Interactive leaned into heavily with its marketing. The popularity of the Diggerland theme park, where grown adults can operate diggers, dump trucks and excavators in a controlled environment, is testament to the fact that big kids love mucking about with heavy plant, no doubt fantasizing about filling in potholes that blight their daily commutes while doing so. Roadcraft could well have mass appeal as a result. The demo was largely a freeform introduction to Roadcraft's systems, vehicles, and 4 of the 8 areas expected in its version 1.0 release, with this full version the real test of how its mission-based structure would fare within a laissez-faire framework. The campaign mode is where most Roadcraft players will start their journey, with your omnipresent handler Kelly dishing out missions and objectives, and a valid CSCS card, presumably. Completing tasks earns cash, which you can use to buy new vehicles with a range of useful abilities, with most vehicle types unlocked via career progression. The game introduces you to the new mechanics gradually, but is quite light on exposition. You'll often feel a tad confused about how to proceed, so it's best to play with vehicle control hints turned on. Your first major decision is to pick your scout vehicle. You can choose between a Land Rover Defender-like off-roader or a beefier American-made truck. A Humvee-style 4x4 is also available as DLC, by the way. The next step is to set up your disaster relief business, mine is called Pave and Save, and choose a livery for your fleet. No mention of steel toe caps, strangely. Vehicle behaviour feels odd initially. The scout vehicles are the quickest in-game and feel skittish from the outset, seeing you wildly counter-steering through muddy puddles. However, the handling model makes far more sense when switching to the slower vehicles that form the backbone of the game. Roadcraft overwhelms with its choice of machinery and tasks initially, with players given the keys to mobile cranes, cable layers, stump mulchers, trucks, tracked vehicles, tree harvesters, bulldozers, pavers, and rollers, all within the first couple of maps. Each has its own idiosyncrasies, but cranes are the trickiest to operate no matter which control scheme you opt for. Each crane type, there are static and mobile varieties, seemingly follows a different button layout, which only adds to the confusion. Eventually, you'll spot a pattern to most of Roadcraft's missions, which essentially boil down to simple fetch quests with a bit of set dressing. Some require you to lay underground cables to help power facilities, others compel you to load up objects before delivering them to a hard-to-reach location. Each map also demands that you collect resources, find scrap, collect it, and then recycle it into primary materials like steel girders or pipes, which, you guessed it, have to be transported or fitted in other locations. Thankfully, the further you progress into career mode, the more interesting these fetch quests become, encouraging you to think on your feet and employ the skills you've learned. Most missions are simple enough then, but it's less of a chore thanks to Roadcraft's lovingly created environments. It's cathartic at times, in a similarly chilled out Snowrunner kind of way. Now, the headline feature of Roadcraft is, unsurprisingly, its road building, but it features less than you'd think in the early stages of the game. Roadcraft obliges you to create small sections of road to progress, and you can choose whether your dump truck, bulldozer, paver and roller perform their respective tasks manually or automatically. It's quicker to select the auto function, but way more fun to do it manually. You can even choose to cover the whole map in asphalt if you like, but your paved paradise is stymied by your dump truck's proximity to a sand quarry. Dump trucks can fill themselves with sand at the touch of a button as long as they're within a certain distance of a quarry, with upgraded vehicles capable of extending this reach and payloads. The sand unloading physics are hugely satisfying to play with, but many will be disappointed by the slightly immersion-breaking phantom sand. It's all worth it when you finally create your first billiard table smooth surface, however. Speaking of things that make you feel good, Roadcraft looks incredible. From luscious vegetation swaying in the breeze to silky water effects you can admire while your motor is drowning, Roadcraft looks very pretty indeed. Little details like water escaping from an exhaust pipe after a cold start, or tyres scrabbling for grip in a visibly viscous mud pit, immerse you in each of the game's maps, emphasising both your isolation and the environment's brutality. These looks don't seem to come at the cost of performance either, as the game ran flawlessly for me throughout my 25-hour plus playthrough, even with the optional 4K texture pack installed. I'll put the PC specs in the description below for reference as well. I did notice more cases of slowdown during multiplayer, however, so you may want to lower your graphic settings before heading online. There is dynamic weather and lighting, but no nighttime sadly, with terrain becoming visibly more claggy as more vehicles pass over it. Those expecting a driving simulation along the lines of Snowrunner and MudRunner may be a little disappointed with Roadcraft. There's no fuel to worry about, for example, which makes the game a more streamlined and arcadey experience, and arguably more fun as a result. Would the game be any better with fuel usage though? In my opinion, no, since you need to chop and change vehicles so often. Constantly filling them up would become rather tedious. I mean, where am I going to find enough red diesel to keep my burgeoning fleet going, for instance? For those confused by the jerrycan symbol in the top right of their screen, this denotes recovery tokens, which can be earned by completing career objectives. These can then be redeemed via mobile bases, like the can-low track truck known as the Stranic, allowing you to teleport vehicles to your current location. It's a real time saver. There's also no damage or manual gear shifting, which may upset SnowRunner aficionados but also appeal to more casual players. However, there are still high and low range gearboxes to switch between, as well as diff locking, which may placate some sim fans. Now, Roadcraft is compatible with steering wheels, but it seems to be on a case-by-case basis. For instance, the Simagic Alpha Evo was immediately mappable, however, the Moza M-Booster brake plus the CRP2 gas and clutch pedals were not picked up. Hopefully, compatibility with specific hardware improves over time, but using a gamepad should be easier anyway, especially considering the number of commands and fine controls Roadcraft's vehicles require. Best get yourself a season pass for Diggerland then. Although the game ran admirably well straight out of the box, and on a side note, isn't it nice to see a driving game not releasing into early access? Roadcraft does have some weaknesses. One of your early missions involves setting up a transportation route between an abandoned facility and a phosphate plant. It's absolutely torturous, with the route out of the facility filled with deep water, sticky mud, and trees. My dim-witted AI-controlled truck drivers constantly got stuck no matter how carefully I planned the route, leading me to plotting a course straight through some trees. Eventually, the trucks bludgeoned their way through the foliage to their destination, but I'd lost a good hour of gameplay by that point. You'll need to take extra care to ensure the routes you dispatch AI on are fully cleared of debris and deep mud, as they will get stuck if not. Thankfully, you can give them a little nudge to help them out, but they will require a lot of attention throughout the game. I found that the game's map became overwhelmingly muddled over time too, with it becoming more and more difficult to ascertain exactly where you were going thanks to the multitude of markers and facilities clogging up the map. Occasionally, I also found the in-game camera selection to be quite limiting. There are 3 views: the obligatory swingman or chase cam, a replay style camera, and a glorious cockpit cam. Often, the in-game camera would trip over itself, a health and safety strike if ever there was one, making it tricky to follow the action. Using cranes is fiddly enough as it is after all. I'd also have loved to see a photo mode added. A game that looks this good deserves one. Roadcraft is generally a bit vague in explaining objectives and how to complete them, with poorly laid out menus clumsily confusing matters further. There is at least a handy codex to help explain most of the basics. Despite some frustrations, Roadcraft has an ace up its sleeve: 4-player online co-op. Naturally, most games are more fun when shared with friends, but Roadcraft's sometimes laborious processes can be streamlined with the help of your friends. Or if it's me we're talking about, the hindrance of your now enemies. Yes, it is fairly skill dependent, but fun nonetheless. Trying to improve the impassable sections of a map can be a frustrating experience solo, but with the support of friends, you can each wield a dump truck, bulldozer, roller, and a paver, making light work of the worst of Roadcraft's environments. Then, there's the fun you can have with Saber's proprietary physics engine, including picking up vehicles with a crane and swinging them about a bit, much to the annoyance of your friend in their inverted 4x4. You can also utilise the physics to right a toppled truck with a winch, or simply use a bulldozer to push one of your AI-controlled trucks up a hill. You can even have someone drop a log on you. The choice is yours. Multiplayer is available across PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC versions of the game too, with full cross-platform compatibility. You can use your own career mode save or join one of your friends, seamlessly dropping in and out to offer assistance, or otherwise as the case may be. Just like previous Saber games, there is full mod support across PC and consoles, but we were naturally unable to test this ahead of the game's release. Needless to say, many of the game's foibles may well be addressed post-release thanks to the community. Despite UI concerns and a lack of handholding, Saber has created a beautifully realised construction game, with just enough vehicle simulation to endear it to hardcore fans. Although its linear missions tend to fade into each other, at times the game calls on you to think outside of the box, empowering players to harness Roadcraft's fun physics and vehicle mechanics to produce novel solutions to problems. Each environment is brutally realistic and stonkingly gorgeous to look at, with most of the game's vehicles a joy to control. It may not appease all of Saber's fervent off-road community, but Roadcraft has all of the ingredients to be the surprise hit of the summer, especially when played with friends. A reminder that Roadcraft launches on PS5, Xbox Series X and S and PC on Tuesday the 20th of May at 9 AM Pacific Time and 6 PM Central European Time. And if you're wondering about price, the standard edition is $34.99 in British pounds or $39.99 in dollars or euros, with the rebuild edition, including extra vehicles and 2 extra maps, retailing at $44.99 in the UK or $49.99 in dollars or euros. Let us know down in the comments below your thoughts on Roadcraft, and subscribe to the channel for more game reviews in future. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.